Hey, this is Blake Sloan. I've been selling real estate over 14 years, and our team of highly trained professionals, along with our unmatched marketing, has sold thousands of homes here in the Myrtle Beach area, and this is how we do it.
Number one, what do we do? Set the frame, right? Set the frame, which is what? A 1-3 minute conversation? Really setting three things. What was it?
The intention.
Right? Setting the clear intention of what's going to happen today. Here's what's going to happen in the situation. Here's what's going to happen in our conversation. Here's what's happening when we meet. Whatever it is, right? Second part, what are we doing? Setting what we're going to do with our time together. What's going on, right? Here's what's going to happen. Here's what our time's going to be together. It depends on the situation, rather it be a face-to-face appointment or looking at houses. Hey, listen, what happened today? We're going to look at 4 houses today. It's going to take us about 2 hours. Like, people still don't do that, right? When you meet, hey, here's what's happened today. We're going to look at 4 houses. We're not going to look at 20 houses. You know why? After house 4, you're not going to remember shit. So we're not going to waste time to look at 22 houses. And so I'm setting a frame there of what? Our time. Our goal here is to identify which ones work and which ones don't work, and the ones that don't, we'll figure out why they don't work, so that I can help make adjustments for you. But if you do see the one you like, guess what you got to be willing to do? Pull the trigger quickly on the spot. Why? Because there's only 5.1 months inventory right now. That's the lowest we've seen it since 2016, only the 3rd time it's ever hit there. Right? So what am I doing? I'm setting intention for our time together, aka showing houses that day, and also I'm setting time for our experience where, hey, look, I'm not spending 12 hours showing houses. Why? Because it's not effective for you or me. And so it's got to be about them in that situation. And then what am I doing? This is very important. What's the third one?
Getting an yes or no.
I'm setting conditions of what's going to happen today. Meaning that here's the conditions of our meeting. Here's the conditions of what happens. So like we mentioned on the buyer side or the seller side, on the listing side, right? Hey, look, here's what happened today. I want to spend some time. We're going to learn about you, what your situation is, what's most important to you, what your guys' previous experience was, but really ultimately what your goal is, right? Then I'm going to go through, explain to you what we do, what makes us different than 99% of agents in North America. And then at the end, if I feel that we're a fit and that we can help you, I'll make an offer, work together. The only thing I want back from you guys is a simple yes or no if you feel it's a fit as well. Does that sound fair enough? Yes, boom. So what I do, conditions that we're going to make a decision today. And conditions that now, when I do this, what happens? I just set a big ass one of these around all of our conversation, meaning that who's in control? I am. Why? Because I got to be in control just to be able to help you. This is not an ego thing. It's not a power thing. This is all psychology. And how do I help this person get to the outcome that they really need to get to and truly that they want to get to? And so that's what the first part is here. This is where a lot of people screw up. And this is why you live back in here, this place we talked about earlier or yesterday is this. This is what we call what?
Free flow.
Free flow. What happens in free flow?
You lose control.
You're everywhere. It's pure chaos. You never get anything done. We've all been there. And it's like chasing a rabbit, right? You get on this rabbit hole, you search for a while, you come back out, and what do? Right back down the next rabbit hole. And you never get to the actual outcome because you're in free flow. And what happens is, like Amanda was talking about, if you collide in free flow, what usually happens is an explosion. Right? It's not a controlled explosion in an environment that I'm able to control the outcome. And so here, they're expecting that collision, so it's not much of an explosion. In free flow, people get hurt, their egos get hurt, reality gets hurt because I haven't set true conditions on how I'm going to actually be able to make sure I can collide with them with the facts, with the truth. What do we find most people, right, don't want to do? They're not willing to look at the facts. Right? And so that's the important part here. We're looking at the entry, and that's what Katie was talking about earlier. We're looking here to establish really the facts. We've done this kind of in the beginning. What's the pain? So the way we enter into the frame is establishing their true facts. Not necessarily what they tell us in the beginning through 2nd and 3rd level questions about the reality. And here's the thing. They're going to come back out of this. We have a seller right now who has a house that's over almost triple the average square foot for the neighborhood. It's over double and a half of the average price in the neighborhood, right? The average days on market in the neighborhood is over 250 days. We're on day 51 yesterday, and they're bitching saying that we're not doing anything, right? It's one of North Myrtle Beach. It's an over-improvement more than you've ever seen. It used to be the actual clubhouse. I think you did the open house there, right? It was the one that's in, in Long Bay.
Long Bay.
So the reality is they're not anywhere near reality. And so part of what we got to do is take them back to the facts, re-answer. I'll make that phone call today. Here's the deal. We're not a magician, right? I'm not here to do magic, but what you're asking for is magic. The average of the ones that do sales over 250 days, we're double that a double and a half price and almost triple the size. And guess what? We're only 51 days in. That right there on paper is what? Magic, right? You want me to perform magic. And so that part of that is their expectations of what the reality is. And so the highest to sell in there is 380,000. They're at 600. 625 or 659, whatever it was.
599 there. 599.9 they're down to, but
They
it
just-
is a lot of work.
They just dropped to 599, right? Yeah. So the reality is like, that's kind of the whole thing of what needs to happen. So you get my point there. And so that's the reality of what it is. And so we enter here, we collide once we have the facts and once the facts are established. So you can do this in a phone call conversation like I'm gonna have to do today, or you can do this and you're looking at properties, or you can do this in a meeting with them face to face about the current situation, right? What's gonna happen if you don't make a move by December? What's gonna happen? It happens all the time. We had a guy who told Joe on the phone that he had to have the house sold by December, end of December at the latest. Jeremy gets there, he tells me, I may have told you that story, right? Jeremy gets there, he tells me he doesn't have to sell, right? I might think about selling next year. So what happens? Fantasy, fantasy, fantasy. The reality is the guy who wasn't pressuring him, who wasn't in a sales situation face to face, what happens is they get scared, they shut down, and they literally believe their lies. And I know I've been watching them do it for 15 years. And so the same thing in timeshare, right? Did the same thing there too. And so you can cut up to 20 years. But the reality is everyone does that. So the better I can get at understanding their mind and helping them navigate it and get through that, the better I am from an influence situation, right? Second part we talked about here is what? This is an important one. This is a big aha for everyone there today. Establish the win. And you do that with a simple frame. Hey, what I found is most agents don't even take the time to really sit with you and care and really figure out what a win is for you. On top of that, guess what ultimately happens after that? The client like yourself comes into a situation like this and they don't even know what the win is. And so let me ask you this. The first thing that we're going to do for you today is sit here and figure out what's a win look like for you. So let me ask you this. Based on what you told me about you guys needing to be out of Ohio and down here by whatever, what would you say an exact win is for you guys? If we got to the end of this and you said, hey, look, Blake, this is a win. What would that look like for you? Boom. The quality of the win you're going to get is equal to the ability for you to frame it up for them. Do you see how I kind of nudge them through that by based on here's the conditions, conditions, conditions. Now, based on these conditions, what would your win look like for you?